Did you know that there was once a time our forefathers were beaten? A time when they were stripped of their dignity, their freedom, their very names. A time when their cries filled the night, but no one came to save them. This is their story. A story of pain, of loss, but also of strength. Our people were free. They walked their lands with pride. Their voices filled the air with laughter and song. The men hunted, the women cooked, the children played under the great baobab trees. Life was good until that night. But that night, the trees whispered, the dogs growled, the air was heavy. Something was coming. The elders felt it. The warriors sensed it. But before they could act, it was too late. They came with guns that roared like thunder, with torches that swallowed homes whole, with chains that turned warriors into prisoners. The night was filled with screams, with fire, with fear. They were beaten, they were stripped, their hands were bound, their voices silenced. Some fought, some ran, but many were taken. They marched for days, no food, no water, no mercy. If you fall, you were whipped. If you could not move, you were left behind. The sun burned their skin, their feet bled on the hard earth. They did not know where they were going, only that they were never coming back. And then they saw it, the ocean, the great water that stretched beyond the sky, and the ships waiting like hungry beasts. Some fall to their knees, crying. Others whispered prayers to the gods. But the chains did not loosen. The ships were waiting. They were locked in dungeons, the strong and the weak, the sick and the dying, waiting for their fate. The air was thick with sweat and sorrow. The walls held their cries. Some would never leave that place. For months, they sailed, packed like firewood. No space, no light, no breath. They were beaten, they were stripped. Some prayed for death, and when it came, the ocean swallowed them whole. The sharks followed the ships, feasting, but the ships did not stop. When the big waters swallowed them and spat them out on strange land, they thought the suffering was over. But suffering had just begun. They were dragged like goats to the marketplace. The sun burned their backs, but the pain in their hearts burned hotter. Rich men in fine clothes pointed at them, touched their arms, checked their teeth like cattle. One by one they were taken. Fathers from sons, mothers from daughters, husbands from wives. I will take that strong one. That woman will serve in my house. That boy will work in the fields. They were given new names, names that had no meaning. Their tongues were forced to forget the songs of their fathers. Their hands, once free, now worked from sunrise to sunset, planting food they would never eat, building houses they would never sleep in. But at night, when the masters slept, they whispered their names. They whispered the stories of home. They sang, not with their mouths, but with their spirits. Even in chains, they did not forget who they were. So today, when you hear the drums, when you speak your mother tongue, when you walk with pride, remember them. They were beaten, but they did not break. They were taken, but they never forgot home. They cried, but they did not lose their strength. Some ran into the deep forest. Some fought back. Some refused to bow. They held onto their names, their stories, their spirit. Even in chains, they were still kings and queens. Time passed, the chains fell, but the pain remained. Yet, their blood still flows in us. Their voices still live in our songs. Their strength still moves in our feet. So when you see the sun rise, know that it shines for them. When the wind blows, know that it carries their voices. When you look at yourself, know that you are their dream. You are the proof that they survived. Never forget, never be ashamed. We are still here, and we are still African. We may never cross paths again, so take a moment to hit the like button and drop a comment. And don't forget to subscribe for more.